Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For a radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also, tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, we're glad you all could join us as well. We're excited to welcome Deborah Presley Brando to our broadcast today. She's an individual who's been able to not only to look at the world that we live in, to be able to know what it's like to be in the spotlight, and now to be able to share her own story in the book, Memoirs of a Starseed Child, Elvis, Marlon, Christian, and me. I want to talk to Deborah not only about the sharing of her story, but what it's been like for her to release that to the world, to see how people are connecting with it, and, of course, what she hopes you're able to take away from it as well. Deborah, thank you again for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Deborah, I have the book here on my Kindle. It's available, of course, on Amazon, but also wherever books are sold. We're going to remind our audience of that. And it's really so interesting the way you've written this book, Deborah, because I think, we all kind of think about, especially individuals like Elvis, and think about the spotlight. But you take us back to a time where the world was very different, Deborah, when you grew up. And there was not, of course, all that we have today with the Internet and 24-hour news cycles. What has it been like for you to see the way that people are responding to your story, Deborah?
It's been so touching and so uplifting. And let me say one thing. I love Jackson, Mississippi, because I was conceived somewhere between Jackson and Memphis. That's where my mother met my father. They met up in June of '55 there when he was playing close by. But anyway, I'm just so touched because it's truly a spiritual story about healing and generational healing. And my father was forced to just shut up and sing. And basically, my story is just about faith and, the power of the human spirit and triumphing through suicides. And my husband's accused of murder, which he didn't do, and just how we can get through anything if we just hold on to our faith and keep going.
Yeah, and that is what is so fascinating to me, Deborah, and that's why I'm so glad to speak with you, because I think a lot of times we hear these names, right? We hear the Presley name, we hear the Brando name, and we don't always remember that there are lives attached to that, right? And part of what you've been able to do in this book is to talk about the importance of belonging. So talk to us about that for yourself. What has it been like for you to know that you are in a place where you actually belong?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to, I'm Southern. I was born in the South. I was raised Mormon. And I just believe that, we all, in the South particularly, is still conscious of this more than most places. I'm in Hollywood right now, and it's just like, a foreign language. But spirituality, spirituality is, we're all from the same place. We're all of divine origin. Our souls are eternal. And this is just, it's like when Christian passed away, his mother said to me, Deborah, do not cry. Death is but an incident in life. And that's true. And I've just been so touched. People are writing me from all over the world. Deborah, I didn't know my father. I didn't feel like I belonged. I felt abandoned. Yeah. And, we're never truly abandoned by, where we really come from. It's really very simple.
Yeah, and I love that you even talk about that in the book, and that you say it in such an interesting way. I want to read something that you wrote in Memoirs of a Starseed Child, Deborah. You said, talking about your father, he didn't belong to us. He'd never be a part of our family the way he should have. He would have watched me grow from a distance and gifts and annual extras, but never in the way that I would truly need him, at least not through my formative years. And what I thought about was there's so many who can relate to that. I grew up without my father, right? And so I think people will read those words. Did you expect to have that type of connection with people, Deborah, when you were writing this book?
Yes, because when I first got to Los Angeles, the first person who picked me up was Larry Geller. Larry Geller was my father's spiritual advisor, and I had come through a hard time. I had been with the guy from the KISS tour. I had miscarried because he had physically beaten me so badly I lost a child. I went from the hospital to the drugstore, and there was a book of my father with his arms extended saying the spiritual journey of Elvis, and I picked up that book, and I was laughing, even though I had just lost a child to a beating. I was smiling because he loved the same poets. He believed in astrology. He believed in that God created, us like in his image, and that what he could do, we could do on a different scale. So it just came from just one miracle after the other in my life. And we all have this. And like you came through your father. You chose him as a father, and it made you stronger through it all. And there's things you don't see. He's in you, whether he was with you or not. You can't separate the child from the father, and we're all humans and make mistakes. My father didn't want to abandon me, but look what he gave the world. There are billions of people right this minute loving him, walking through his house. So how can I complain?
When you were just talking about the spiritual aspect, Deborah, of course, I want to remind our audience who haven't seen the book, I think, is a great reflection of that spirituality and that expanse of the world that we live in. What is your hope then, Deborah, as you do chronicle not only, of course, about your family, but also about your own journey of survival and resilience? What do you hope this book does for people who pick it up?
To know that every single human being has a purpose and a value, and it doesn't matter what happens in our lives, that we're directly connected to where we came from, and that's bigger than all of this. But a lot of times people just forget their own power. I mean, we can communicate, with our mother who's 3,000 miles away. My mother's not even in this world, but she's with me every day. So it's just the magic of the reality of humanity and what we really are if we would just recognize it. And that we all have this. I'm not special, I mean, we all have the same gifts and the same abilities, and we just need to realize that in order to save ourselves. Look at this world. We need to be able to have different beliefs and still love each other. You can believe what you believe, and I can believe what I believe, but don't hate me because of what I believe. I've lost friends because of the way I believe. But you know what? We need to love each other. That's the only thing that's going to save all of us. As silly as it sounds, it's the truth. Listen to the Beatles. Listen to my father's gospel. We all know this internally. We just need to exercise it in daily life. Just when you go out today, smile. You'd be amazed how many people just smile back and what a difference that makes at the grocery store, walking down the street. It's the truth. We have powerful gifts that are simple and free.
Such a great point, and it really does show how all of us can have the impact to be able to affect the people around us. Again, everyone, Deborah Presley Brando has been our guest. The book is Memoirs of a Starseed Child, Elvis, Marlon, Christian, and Me, available, of course, as I mentioned, through our friends at Amazon.com, both in print or the Kindle edition like I have. You can also get it from your favorite bookstore. Deborah, how can our audience stay connected with you?
You can also get the book, if you want a signed copy, from DeborahPresley.com. And again, it's a story of spiritual strength and survival, not about fame and Hollywood. It's about, spirituality and surviving all that we endure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for writing this book and sharing with us today, and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much. Bless you.
Well, thank you. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.